You're listening to the Mopcast Network.
Darkman. Welcome, my friends, to the Catacombs, the deep underground lair where we keep the really weird stuff at the Cult Movie Cantina. I'm your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty, and I'm joined by my co-hosts,
Drew,
co-hosts. You can check us out on our website at scottywhite.com and join the discussion at the Cult Movie Cantina's Facebook page, facebook.com Cult Movie Cantina. While you're checking out the latest racist rant from your uncle on Facebook, instead of replying and making Thanksgiving awkward, why don't you visit us at the Cult Movie Cantina? The Cult Movie Cantina, better than trying to explain to your uncle that brown people are human beings too.
Who is Darkman?
I gotta tell you something about me. He's a cockroach. You think you kill him, and he pops up someplace else.
In the darkest hour, there's a light that shines on every human being. But one. Darkman, rated R. Starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
This week we take a look at the 1990 superhero movie,
Do you think
Darkman.
Quick question.
Sure.
This is just producer moment. You're like I can't say this like fairly, but
You can say brown people.
brown people too. And then you're like, the movie this week is Darkman.
Who's a crispy fried brown dude? Yeah. He's a crispy fried white dude.
Just falling right down the stairs on the way down, straight onto the catacombs.
Oh, that's how it is. So we picked Darkman from our last episode at the end of it, and we committed. We did Darkman.
Look, I tell you what, I will go on record saying it's nice to watch a Sam Rami film that isn't Evil Dead or Army of Darkness,
right,
and still see the exact same tricks as Evil Dead and Army of Darkness,
Right, because especially at this point in his career, he's only got a handful of tricks,
right,
that make them all work. I think
but they're all Sam Rami tricks.
They're great. They're great. I mean, we'll get to it, but at the end of this movie, there's a fight on this high rise, and he uses the bad guy has a rivet gun, and he fires a rivet, and they do like the POV rivet, just like in Quick and the Dead with the bullets.
Yep.
And so it's just like, I love Quick
Was setting it up.
Yeah, I
He was
love
just
Quick
setting
and
it all up. I like Quick and the Dead.
I do too. All right, so Darkman, 1990, directed by Sam Rami. We just mentioned he directed Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, Drag Me to Hell, which is a really mixed movie. I love it. And he entered and gave us the world of Evil Dead.
Yeah,
And
most importantly,
Army
he
of
gave me
Darkness.
Ash.
He gave you Ash from Army of Darkness. Written by Rami, Chuck Ferrer, and who did Red Planet, Hard Target, Navy SEALs. There were some other writers on the run too. When it was originally ideated by Rami, he went with Chuck and his brother. Rami's brother is a doctor.
Yeah, he's like something
Like a neurosurgeon. He's like
something I think fairly legit.
So Chuck and Sam wrote the script, and then they turned it to Sam's brother, who was like, "Well, here's all the medical stuff that you need," and it was a little convoluted, but Universal liked it, and so they were like, "Well, here's some more money for it, but we're going to bring in 2 other writers to kind of help hone this in," and so the 2 other writers came in and they honed it in. Music is by Danny Elfman.
And it is glory. I love this soundtrack.
All right, so here's my only criticism about the Danny Elfman soundtrack. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie's 1990. Batman was 1989. This movie sounds like all the unused crap in Batman.
It probably was, but I did feel
I
like
mean, it sounds
the Darkman
like it.
theme still had it for whatever reason. Like I remember, I've watched this movie a lot, right? And it still had that thematic element where I heard the little score. And I actually forgot Danny Elfman did the music, and I missed the credit. Like I was at the gym when I first started watching, and I looked away or something, and I missed the credit. I was like, God, this sounds a lot like Danny Elfman. Whoever this is great. I love the music.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just, I mean, it's especially early 90s Danny Elfman. It sounds like.
I guess, though, for
like
me, it was
Batman.
also Danny Elfman with the aesthetic of how they decided to lens this movie. I think it's Ben Pope.
Bill Pope. Yeah,
Bill Pope.
I was
Bill
about to
Pope.
get to it.
How he lends this movie, I think, is fascinating.
So Bill Pope, as we just mentioned, is the director of photography. He's
He's a beast.
He's done all the Matrix movies. He's done all the Spider-Man movies. Raimi's one. He did Clueless. He did Alita Battle Angel most recently, and he did Baby Driver and a list of other things. He's a B. Like, he's got a huge career.
Yeah, he's epically amazing.
Stars Liam Neeson in probably his first starring role.
Yep.
He had done bit stuff. He was in Kroll and Excalibur.
Well, wait, is he in Next of Kin? When did that come out?
Yeah, but he's not like a star of Next Again.
Right, he's the younger brother, right?
Right.
And Patrick Swayze is looking for him.
Right.
You're right. You're right.
So, this is like his first, I may be wrong, but I think this is his first starring vehicle.
I think you're spot on.
Or if not, it's one of the ones that gave us, really, because it's like, oh, who is that guy? And then he went off to do other stuff.
Yep.
Frances McDormand, who Oscar winner.
Yeah. Who I always thought it was Virginia Madsen when I was a kid. For whatever reason.
Because she's very Virginia Madsen.
Yeah.
She's also married to a Coen brother. I don't know which one.
Joel,
thank you, because I couldn't. And then Larry Drake, who was most famously in L.A. Law, and he's Dr. Giggles.
who brilliantly plays a very good character in this. I actually liked his performance. It's very understated. But in L.A. Law, he's like I think he's mentally challenged maybe, or in that space.
Yep.
And so it's a pretty big contrast of character range.
He was a great actor in it. And
he's fantastic.
Yeah, he passed away recently, 2016.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, recently passed away.
That's a shame.
So
God
how would you synopsis this film?
Oh God, it's always the same when a brilliant scientist is overrun by mobsters and burned near death. He uses his scientific powers to create a new identity, Darkman, from darkness justice sometimes melts. I don't know where I'd go from there.
So mine is this. Benny from L.A. Law trades in his mental deficiencies for some mean gangster skills as he battles a poor burn victim who becomes the most unlikely superhero ever.
I love it. It's brilliant.
Because this movie it is definitely about Liam Neeson's character, Dr. Westlake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Robert Durant. Like, the movie starts like Star Wars. Like, we don't see the hero at all for like the first 10 minutes.
No, they do a cold open almost.
Yeah, they do a cold open.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty fascinating.
What was your first introduction to this film?
I got to be careful how much I talk about it because I actually will get emotional in a weird way.
Oh.
No, it's very personal. So I remember seeing this with my cousin, who's estranged now. I don't see him anymore. I remember seeing this with my cousin at his house. He was younger than me. He's 2 years younger than me. We were like brother and like two brothers.
Right.
He has a sister too. I don't see her either. But we were very close. And his mom, we talked his mom into renting it for us. My aunt. We talked her into renting this movie, Darkman. She didn't pay attention because she thought it looked like a comic book movie.
Well, it is a comic book movie.
Right. For adults. I mean, it's
PG-13, right?
No, it was R.
Was it R?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So when we were kids, we snuck it in and we watched it, and it freaked us out a little bit, but we both loved it. Well,
right.
The reason it's like a special thing, if I dwell
it would be PG-13 today.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the... Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's passed away. She died from cancer, so it's like this weird sort of...
I got you.
It's a good
Sorry to
memory,
hear that.
right? But if I dwell on too long, it gets depressing for me. But yeah, this came out in 90.
90.
I think I saw it like... VHS wise, I didn't see it in theaters, so a year after, so 91. I probably saw
91,
it.
yeah.
So I would have been just 8th grade, whatever that is.
Saw it I did not get to see it in theaters. I was mad about that. Something happened. I don't remember exactly why I couldn't watch it in theaters, but it's in. When we talk about dates and things, I'll tell you why that's important. Saw it on video, and we hooked our video camera to the VCR and dubbed that one, so I had a copy of it.
Did you really?
We used to do that all the time. So
Really?
I think I had this on a copy of I think it was Child's Play 2, Darkman, and Predator 2.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so I got to watch I watched Darkman a lot as a kid. When I was 14, I dressed up as Darkman for Halloween.
Oh, so you're a big Darkman fan?
Yeah, I was a huge fan. It was great. I found out about it in Starlog.
Oh, see, back to our
Back
Starlog thing.
There's a great start. There was a great
And yours paid out well. Mine failed us miserably. See last week's episode of our new scale of rating movies. The worst you can possibly be.
Spoiler alert, this is better than Nemesis.
Oh, way better. Million times better. The worst movie ranking you could be is a Nemesis level.
So are you ready to dig into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Meet Robert G. Durant. Nope, he's not Darkman, but that's who we're starting with. So apparently Calder from Prince of Darkness has got himself in the drug business and has a bunch of thugs on the docks that meets this other gangster dude and the aforementioned Robert D. Durant. And well, after some threats, it doesn't go well. Durant and the boys kill Calder and his guys and ends up taking Calder's fingers with a cigar cutter because everyone needs a hobby. That's how this movie opens.
It's totally right. I mean, there's no denying it.
So if you don't know Calder, he's the black guy in Prince of Darkness who sings the hymnal and then stabs himself in the neck with like a.
And the dialogue in this sequence is terrible.
Terrible.
Except if you think about it from a comic book, it's as if Sam Raimi wrote that scene,
Right.
reading the thought bubbles.
Oh yeah.
Like literally, like, hey, here's the thought bubbles. Read these, and he's like, I am here to beat that. Like the phone call alone in the opening 2 seconds is awful.
Oh yeah. And my favorite part of though is that when Durant's men show up in the cars and they frisk him, it's like everything but the kitchen sink comes out. Every weapon you could think of.
Brass knuckles. Is
Brass
what I kept
knuckles,
seeing.
guns and knives
Yep.
and nunchucks.
Yep,
All right,
nunchucks.
All right, I'm gonna call back
The theme on this show.
All right, I'm gonna call back to Dreamscape. I still contend that nunchucks are useless.
100%.
And there's like 3 different guys with nunchucks
I
in this
guess you
movie.
could just swing a couple of times.
I mean, I get it. It's kind of like a flail. You can hit some. Yeah, you can hit somebody, but like when you see them in karate movies and they're all doing like hoo-ahs and whatever,
100%.
And it's like, what? I just
100%.
because you're not going to deflect bullets.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. That's all it is.
So so they all go inside this warehouse where there's like 300 thugs.
Oh, there's so many thugs that they put some of them in cars inside of crates.
Right, just in case we need them.
And then they're like, hey, crate thugs on demand. And they pull a string and cars come and bust. I mean, I have random crates.
I will give them credit, though. So they disarmed
Did you give them credit?
I don't give them credit. I'm talking about Durant's guys. I give them credit because after they are disarmed and they're having this conversation, and Calder's all like, well, I got 3 things. 1, I ain't selling. B, you're a bunch of pussies, and we're gonna kill you. And if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself. I mean, it's basically what he tells them. And so there's a guy there in Durant's team who has 1 leg.
Oh, I love that guy.
And he's in it, and they make a joke about it. Like he's got a prosthetic leg, and they're like, a bum leg is like, and he goes in and he knocks on it, no leg. Except there's a gun in it.
Yep.
Like the best machine gun ever. Or the guy from Wayne's World is the greatest shot.
Smiley?
Yeah.
Smiley, that's his character name. Because I was so excited that guy from Wayne's World, because Wayne's World hasn't happened yet.
No, Wayne's World will be afterwards. Yeah, 92.
Right. This guy's career is launched by being the dude who rips another dude's leg off that happens to have a machine gun in it.
And then kills everybody.
And kills everybody.
And
has my favorite death scene in the whole movie.
Which is
the payback on the ticking bird.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I love that scene.
And
I
so
thought it's well done.
When Smiley's not killing everybody with the machine gun leg that doesn't run out of bullets, Robert Durant is just knocking people out and just blowing people away with like.
And then he suddenly has a gun.
Right, he just picks up this pistol and he's like, the crate cars show up and running around, and he's just like, all right, I'll just shoot the driver, and he just like does the next swing and pop, and he just one shots everybody.
Yep.
It's great. But the crate guys, so did they get in when they knew the guys were coming, or is that just their job? It's like, all right, Bill, you're on crate duty today. You need to be in the car.
You guys get in this old 1987 Cadillac Cutlass,
just in case the bad guys show up and we need
hide in these crates just in case.
Just in case. Do you want crate duty, or do you?
It's a good point. If you're tired,
right? It's like,
I guess because you don't really react till there's gunfire,
right?
So you're crate duty.
Yeah,
you have to sleep a little more.
Right. It's like, all right, well, it's like, so I think it's like a privilege.
Yeah. got crate privilege.
Great privilege.
That's offensive, but I like it.
So crate duty. And then the movie starts.
Yep.
So next we meet Dr. Peyton Westlake, who's a scientist working on synthetic skin. It's groovy, but he can't get it to last past 99 minutes until it turns to goo. His girlfriend, Julie Hastings, is a lawyer, and she's looking over some shady stuff with this real estate developer, Louis Stack, about bribes he's committing to get his building built. She tells Louis about this document, but she doesn't happen. It's at her place, which happens to be the Westlake Labs. She is terrible. She's first of all, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think like if I know like you're doing shady stuff, I'm not going to be like, by the way, are you making bribes to people?
Yeah, I mean, terrible situation.
Right. He's got like I'm going to kill you money. I wouldn't mention this to him and be like, no.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Now in this section, is that where have they solved the skin problem yet?
No.
Okay.
That's coming up.
Yep.
Cut to Dr. Westlake and his Asian assistant.
Who, sadly, when attacked later on, does 2 kung fu moves. It's like, oh, my head hung a little bit. I was like,
it's very Asian.
God.
He's stereotypically Asian. Yakahito is his name.
At least they named him.
Who are going through another test when the lights go out, and lo and behold, the skin hasn't turned to goo at 99 minutes. Turns out the skin hates the light. But Westlake doesn't get far with the discovery, as Durant and his goons have come to tear the place up, kill both Westlake and Yakahito, and then find the document. 2 of those 3 things happen. Yakahito gets it. They find the document, which has a coffee ring on it, important later, and Westlake survives being beaten and blown up to a pulp.
And his explosion out of the building is delightful.
It's like
cartoon Cannon City.
So we've got Liam Neeson as Westlake, and he's looking at his microscope, and the same kind of artificial. It doesn't make sense to me. Like,
yeah, I don't really get it
because I think it's synthetic, but they move, so it's like he's created life. Why didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, it's way bigger than that.
It's like you've made life. You're technically a god.
Yeah.
no, it just turns to goo later. Got to figure.
So my problem with it was, I don't remember, unless I totally missed something. He solves the problem that by turning off the lights, the skin it holds past 100 minutes.
Right.
It just keeps going.
Right.
I believe indefinite. They don't get to know that
right.
because and then the rest of the movie, even though he's named Darkman, he never uses the skin in the dark.
I know, right?
And it really drives me crazy.
It bothers me.
Why
as well.
are you called Darkman?
Because he
I really can't figure it out.
Because he says that because I'm the Dark Man at the end of the movie.
That's
when he
it,
turns
at
into
the end.
Bruce Campbell.
Yes, the final shemp. That's his name.
It is. I love this scene for a couple of reasons. These guys are just brutal to Liam Neeson before Taken.
And it's very Sam Rami style.
Right. So, they're looking for this paper. He doesn't know what this paper is, the Bear Solace or whatever memorandum.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate. So we're just going to beat the shit out of you some more. They get Kung Fu Yakahito and put him in like a Ziploc bag on his head, and he can't breathe. And it's like, let him breathe. And it's like ventilate him, and they just put a bullet through his head. That's
with the smokiest gun ever made by Ted Raimi.
Ted Raimi, Sam's younger brother.
He's in everything.
He's in everything. He's the Clint Howard of Sam
very
Raimi.
much so.
And then, so here's my favorite part of this, and this is just ridiculous. They pick Westlake up. There's like 2 goons on each side of him, and they push him to some vat full of hot water or acid. I'm not sure exactly what
I don't know what it is.
But it messes up his face.
Yeah.
But then there's these electrical poles that just fry his hands to nothing. And it's that cool kind of like Pee Wee Herman claymation that they do on it.
Oh, it's stop motion for sure.
And it's great. It looks like it's kind of terrifying.
It is. It's very violent.
Right.
It's a very violent sequence.
Yeah.
To a point of like, maybe that's where the R rating came from. It's super violent. It's also like very much a Joker origin story. All of a sudden.
Very much. Like
it's dark.
Man. And
Hey!
It's like they're making a super villain, but they're not. They end up not doing it.
Right.
Before the attack, though, and this is slightly important, Westlake tells his girlfriend Julie that he wants to get married, and she's like, I don't know. And then on her way back to the apartment, she's like, yeah, we're going to get married. I'm going to tell him yes. And so while this is going on, they find the paper, and then they decide to, he's got lethal gas everywhere, so they pop open the lethal gas and use a what are the birds?
It's a bird timer. I
like
don't know
exactly
what I'll look it up what it's called while we're.
And so this bird thing kind of just bobs back and forth, and then it's gets lower and lower until it hits a lighter and explodes, and that's how we have the cool explosion.
It's called a drinking bird.
The drinking bird, and the drinking bird hits the lighter, and the lighter flashes. It's a really good sequence too. It's
great.
It's a slow motion flame, and then we get a close up on Liam Neeson's eyes, and then this is a great practical explosion with Julie outside, and he gets blown up, and it's the green screen work in this, or blue screen work, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still probably blue.
But it's like thick lines and everything. It's like, I love this stuff.
Oh, it's like an animation.
Right.
It's like a cell frame.
And it's like, it's the best scream ever. I love the sequence, though, where they cut to Julie, and she's like horrified, and they do a flash cut to her at a funeral.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
yeah,
we're in the funeral now.
And the transitions there and all. Here's the thing, though. The stuff that I found fascinating is the entire time I'm watching it, and this is a little bit into Apocrypha or whatever, the stuff at the end, but while I'm watching, I was like, man, this is very classic. The entire, it's not overshot. It's not overcut. No. It's very, in a weird way.
And we can talk about it. The reason why.
Elegantly done.
So the reason
old film standards,
right? So this movie exists for a couple of reasons. First of all, Sam Rami wanted to make The Shadow.
Yeah, right.
He wanted to make The Shadow, and he couldn't secure the rights. And then he wanted to make something else that he couldn't secure the rights. So he went, "Fuck it, I'm just going to make my own guy."
Right. So he created Darkman.
He creates Darkman, and Darkman's kind of, he's thinking Hunchback. He turns more into Phantom of the Opera.
Yep.
And this kind of, I think, just this amalgam, and that's how we get Darkman. It's just because he couldn't get the rights to The Shadow and the other property he wanted.
And it look, after watching the whole film again,
right?
And I was saying this at the beginning, I really enjoyed it. It was nice to go back to this movie, for me. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
But the entire experience of watching it aesthetically, this slow pace, it is slower.
Yeah.
It's definitely a slower, but that pace getting us into it, I just got more time with the characters. The drinking bird thing made such an impact on me. I think it was the first, and it's not a great film, but one of the first movies I ever made, not the one that I don't talk about, but the other one.
The movie that shall not be named.
Yeah. But this other film that I worked on, I was directing, and I got them to put a drinking bird in the background as reference to that sequence. I think I made a joke that I was, because my career was about to blow up. Well, my drinking bird never did it.
Westlake survives the explosion. He's burned over 40% of his body. His hands and face are the most damaged. Julie believes he's dead, goes to a funeral for him. What they were like, all we found was an ear.
Which is great.
It's a good line.
Doesn't take long to bury an ear.
Also, I'd like to note that she's the only one at this funeral.
Yeah,
so
it's like this dude's must be a jerk.
Has no friends or family. I felt bad for it. She goes to a funeral for him while he's actually recovering in a hospital as a John Doe. Apparently, since he's a John Doe, they can do all kinds of crazy stuff to him. The doctors are doing this crazy procedure so he can't feel pain, but it gives him super strength and makes him, let's say, a little emotional. He escapes in the night.
Right.
Westlake,
it's basically they give him PTSD if you think about it.
Right.
That's what they purposely do.
And make him the Hulk.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets far-fetched for me. I'm okay with him blowing up and surviving. I'm okay with the weird, crazy procedure that makes him feel no pain. But Westlake gathers what he can from his lab, which is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Nothing's damaged. I mean,
especially the skin goo.
Yeah, the skin goo is
he uses it a lot.
Yeah, the skin goo is fine. The thing that makes the skin goo is great. It's just we smudged it with black and kind of pried something else and make it that stuff's all toast. But no, it works. Maybe it's the good late 80s, 90s technology. Maybe they knew how to build things.
It's true. It wasn't as disposable as crap is today.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how he makes his skin with photos that he just slips in some kind of slot.
Oh yeah, it's just but it makes a sound. It's like doodaloo, doodaloo.
Like it's scanning it and it knows exactly what it is. I'm like, man, that AI is really great for 1989.
Then it produces a hologram.
Yeah, it produces a hologram.
Though for him to reproduce his own face, it took something like 23 days.
Yeah, I counted it. It was 23 days. It was 500 something hours.
Yeah, it's 23 days to produce your own face.
Right. But I don't think it was because of his face. It was because it had to extrapolate because he was missing parts in the picture. So the computer had to construct that because everybody else was made
which is funny because he's analog deepfakes. Darkman is the analog of deepfakes.
Right. just like
Control Alt Deep Deep.
or he's the basic guy in like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Click. All right, you're
Yeah.
Darkman. Move on.
There you go.
So he gathers what he can find in the lab and moves it to another place. He puts things together and starts his plan for revenge. Also trying to reconstruct a new face for himself, he goes after Durant's henchmen, getting them in all sorts of trouble, killing a few, and even disguising himself as Durant, and while all reconnecting with Julie and trying to date. It's weird.
It's really weird.
Because he only sees her in the daytime. This stuff works at night. People date at night.
That's my thing, is it keeps going back. But the entire film, for being called Darkman, is a lot of daylight exteriors. It's a lot.
There's one enough. I love the one at the amusement park, though.
Oh, it's great.
It's very Sam Raimi. It's just
extremely.
It's just close-ups of weird clowns and people yelling.
And there's some reason those clown close-ups bother me. There's like
because they're supposed to. They're
yeah,
like
he's talented.
It's intense. There's a freak show with like a cat man that
I was sitting there thinking, it's like, man, how cool would that be if they reprise that guy?
Yeah, like
it's
team up.
You have the Darkman team, Catboy and Darkman.
I would watch it. So he's in that scene. He's trying to win a pink elephant for Julie.
Yep.
And she's really goading, like, why can't we hang out? And he's like, I'm at this hospital.
Yeah.
Because I'm a burn freak. I'm a superhero. I can't tell you
Said everything but superhero.
I can tell you everything. He almost tells her everything, but he's like, no, I gotta win you this thing. And so he knocks whatever he's got to do. He knocks off the milk cans or whatever with the baseball, and then the guy who's sort of like a low budget Dean Stanton.
Yes,
he's like a.
It's 100%. That's exactly what I was thinking the entire time.
He's like,
in fact, I had to look. I was like, is that?
Yeah, it's like I can't afford him, but we can afford this guy.
Yeah,
he's like, you're over the line.
I'm stand-in.
It's like, you over the line, and I went over the line. He's like, I'd like the pink elephant, and he's I'd like the pink elephant. I have other questions, but I will bring this up now because I'm talking about pink elephant. So Darkman's not in his makeup a lot, not in his skin stuff. All right, so if you look at Darkman, he has no lips.
Yeah.
There's scenes where he's like, when he's like sneaking up on, like trying to, do his surveillance on the bad guys. And so one of his tricks is that he can listen to you and mimic you. He has no lips.
Yeah, it's pretty much impossible.
It's like,
hello, Scotty.
Hello.
I can talk like this entire episode.
I can't sound like Robert Durant. That would be fine. I can't do it.
Yes, I'm Darkman. Hello.
It's like,
yeah, it's impossible.
That's like, what kind of super...
And your mouth gets really dry.
Right, so... It's
just saying.
There's stuff in this though I like. I love, he's putting things together and he's working on this formula to make the skin last longer, and he sets his hands on fire, and that's when we realize how damaged his hands are.
Right.
And then he has the whole dancing freak.
Oh, that's bizarre,
meltdown.
but so Sam Raimi.
I mean, but it's
Bruce
fits.
Campbell-y.
But it fits. It fits. It's like
I'm a freak. I'm a freak. And
pay $5 to see the dancing freak, and just like. I bought all of this.
But that's what I mean. Like, I actually like seeing his Joker, his descent.
Right.
So what's fascinating about his character from a comic book, and this is why I love it like a comic book. To me, it's one of the most comic book films I've seen that's not a comic book.
Right.
He goes to he toes up to the line several times.
Yeah.
All the way to it. And then pulls himself back out.
At the time, Peter David, who was working on, he's comic writer for Marvel at the time, but he was working on X Factory, and he would later write for Supergirl. He wrote a bunch of stuff, and he said this was the perfect comic book movie up to that date because it just followed all the correct tropes that the other ones weren't doing at the time.
Right.
And wouldn't do for many years. I mean,
again, it's a precursor of the right formula.
Well, the precursor right formula, and that Raimi uses in Spider-Man, and everyone goes, oh, this is how you make a movie. Raimi has to lead us the way, but he did it before he did Spider-Man.
It comes back to Darkman because nothing else had worked before this.
Right.
I mean, Batman did,
right,
but not. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from Batman '89. Like that's a huge
right.
But again, to me, this felt more like a comic book. Batman '89 is Tim Burton. It's like to me, Tim Burton's Batman movies are musicals.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with them.
No, but
they're just musicals.
But they have this whole. But Raimi's got a style too. But there's something about it. It's less comic booky than it's just.
The tone of it doesn't feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
But in Darkman, the tone is. I can flip through this. I understand exactly what's going So bad guys figure out things mostly because Julie tells them.
Yeah, she's like the world's worst lawyer.
God, she's the world's worst person. So she was kind of seeing the bad guy for while Westlake was dead, and then she's like, I can't see you anymore because he's alive.
Yeah.
Why are you telling this guy? This guy is clearly evil, and she can't keep her mouth shut. She about anything. But she has my favorite line in the movie. She tells Lewis, "If you aren't going to kill me, I have work to do."
Yeah, it's like
if you know you have to say that line, why tell him anything?
now. I don't know if this will get brought up, but you know that there's like pretty big disputes between them. Sam Rami and Francis.
Yeah, they have they got through the film. They were all friends because they were friends with the Coens. And
the Coens did some weird work on this.
They did some editing work on it.
Yeah,
and that's how she got hired.
Yeah,
and she's not a great actress. It's just it's just like, hey, go do my friend's movie, kind of basically how it worked out. But she's a bit more highbrow of an actor than I think he was used to working with.
Yep.
And she's really a fluff character. There's not a lot to her.
No, she's perfect for at the same time frame Sharon Stone era.
Right. And so
this is like in her sweet spot. She hasn't become basic instinct yet.
Right. And so it's like there's not much to play with. So I could see there's some frustration there. It's like I could see conversations like, why am I telling them this stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what their arguments for, but that's how I just can imagine. It's like, why is this written so shitty?
I wouldn't argue that.
So Julie tells Lewis everything, and so he sends her on her way. Lewis sends Durant's gang after Julie and Westlake because that's where she's headed, which leads to Julie getting kidnapped. Tons of Durant's gang goons dying. Oh, and Westlake's second lab goes up in a huge explosion.
Yep.
Then there's a crazy helicopter fight chase that ends with the helicopter completely being destroyed and blowing up Robert G. Durant with it. Westlake goes to save his girl. I love the weird helicopter chase scene because it's just
they green screen into it. The action scene leading into it is really well composed.
Oh yeah,
I love the running along the catwalks.
Oh yeah,
and again, it's a daytime sequence.
Right,
that's harder.
Right,
nighttime requires more lights, but daytime you can't hide anything.
Right,
and they put it together. But then when he gets onto the helicopter, the way he's sort of hanging like.
I like when he crashes into the building and he just apologizes and then gets pulled right out.
But that's a very comic book.
It's a good bit.
It was, and that's what I mean. Like that whole section, the back half, this back third,
right?
That through Durant's death is extremely comic book.
So and also done in the Matrix.
Yeah,
the first Matrix does basically this bit, but they do it better because the technology is better.
But done here first.
Yeah, done here first. Bill Pope worked on both.
See, I think everything's connected. I'm just saying.
So
here you go. Darkman inspired some scenes.
I had to. I mean, it's great. It's a great sequence. And the attack scene on the second lab is also really good. And you're right. It's to me, it's almost like guerrilla, like how I make a movie because I don't have any budget. So I'm like, oh, this looks like a cool location. Let's shoot what we can here.
And that's Raimi's sort of. If you think about Evil Dead,
right?
Like the guy and Evil Dead 2 is the same movie. That's what he did.
Right. It's just like, this is a cool location. Let's just
make it work.
Just put some squibs here, let him run, and blow some stuff up.
But the explosions were all practical.
Right, and they look
beautiful
so
stunt work. The whole, I mean, it's really well made.
And it's a good cat and mouse scene because it's like, so he sends the goons in, and Darkman's got all these masks he's made of all the goons, and so he's just flipping masks and making people look like each other. And
I love when he sees Smiley versus Smiley is like so good.
And the dual work in that is so good because usually in those older movies you can definitely see lines. You can't see the lines.
The
in
seam is hidden.
The seam is very, very well. And so it's, I mean, like even when earlier when he's pretending to be Durant. And they're in the revolving door together.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I loved it.
It's a great sequence.
And it's just simple mask work, like not After Effects, but like in-camera mask stuff, I assume.
Right.
There was no AE, so they might have had something else. But it's so well built. That's where my favorite death happens. Smiley's death comes into this sequence before Durant dies.
Right.
And I love the edit, the pacing, the flow to take us to that point.
Okay, so Darkman's already on the helicopter by this time. He's fighting. So that we cut back to like the base for his second lab for apparent reason, and then we just see like, oh, the gas tanks are the fuel tanks are just kind of spewing out
chemicals,
and then Smiley kind of wakes up and he's like, oh, this is not good, and he could see where everything's going to blow up, and he sees the lighter and the drinking bird, and he goes crawling for it. And when he reaches for it, it's a hologram.
Yeah.
And then we get the sequence again,
Which was again a good effect.
It looked good. The hologram looked really good.
It did.
I mean,
but the pacing and of the tension to get it there was like a horror death.
Oh yeah,
that's like a horror movie murder, right? That's a Saw murder is what we got.
It was so good, so good. Yeah. Then Durant's killed in a helicopter crash, and I mean it's not really that dramatic. It was
actually kind of lame
for our bad guy. All the bad guy deaths are like the main bad guy deaths are really lame. Westlake disguises himself as Durant. This wasn't a big reveal kind of thing, but he has he says the line that Westlake's like a cockroach. You kill him, and he keeps coming back. That's in the trailer.
Yep,
it's Westlake.
Yep.
Once more shows up as Lewis at Lewis's work spot. I guess they were like, we're gonna go meet and exchange kidnapping girls here. That's where he's got Julie kidnapped. Giant skyscraper under construction because of course it is. Lewis is smart. He figures out Durant is Westlake. There's a crazy fight on the steel beams, and in the end, Lewis falls but is caught by Westlake after giving him the "You can't drop me, you're a good guy" speech. Westlake drops him to his death.
Yeah, which is great
because while he's a superhero, he's a monster. Julie and Westlake have a really awkward elevator ride back to the ground, and
like really awkward.
It's really because he's got no mask, and she's gonna really get the scene for the first time. And but instead of having a heartful reunion, he escapes into the crowd, turning into Bruce Campbell and declaring himself the Darkman. The end.
I am the Darkman.
The makeup work is amazing in this
it's
movie.
super solid.
It's so solid.
There's very little you can take away from it.
Right.
I was reading a thing about like part of the conditions for Liam to do this was that because the teeth were going to be exposed, he didn't want to see him moving in the wrong way because they wouldn't. It's your jaw. So they had to like epoxy it. They did all this extra work just to get the teeth to fit his face properly so that it didn't look as hokey when he spoke.
Right. And
it doesn't solve the lip problem, but...
No, it doesn't. That's just suspension of disbelief. But I love what they can't fix, they cover with those bandages perfectly.
Yep.
I mean... Yep. So you've got him. I mean, he looks horrifying. The way he's burned is just tragic. But the bandage work to make him look like the mummy.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, fantastic.
And then some of the moments where they would do the very noir lighting, and they would just give us like this little shafty across, like little strip of light across his face or over a sign.
That's why the hat's there. The hat's so good.
It's brilliant.
I mean, he's totally the Phantom of the Opera, and it's fantastic.
And now I don't know how far into the path we want to go, but do you have the costume notes? Did you read any of that stuff?
I did not, but you can tell. Yeah.
Oh, so he picked some of these pieces.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was digging in on it. I was like, some of the costume for Darkman is built off of Liam Neeson wanting to assemble this character. I think that's fascinating.
Right. I had that as a trivia thing, but I didn't really. The other trivia thing I had two. So Bill Paxton was almost cast as Peyton Westlake. According to Paxton, he told his friend Liam Neeson about the audition. When Neeson got the role, Paxton didn't speak to him for months.
No, it's terrible.
Liam Neeson worked 18 hours a day in 10-piece makeup.
It's crazy.
But he liked the challenge and the idea of working behind a mask and camera. That sounds like just an actor. He's like, just throw me into something.
Yep.
Plus, for him, his first big starring role, he doesn't want to screw it up. So he's like, I want to get cast in other things.
Well, it's a lead. Like you want to be able to show you can carry the lead.
The lead. And it's got enough of him in it where you can see his face,
100%.
which is now a big thing. I mean, it wasn't as big in the 90s, but it's like, like when you see Iron Man and you're going to see like the helmet, like not a lot, but you're going to see like the HUD where you can see Tony Stark's face, and then he's going to not wear the helmet as much as he can. Yeah. It's like when basically he's not flying wearing these oxygen.
Well, it's Deadshot from the DC universe. That he never wears the thing that makes him Deadshot.
The editing process was very difficult, and the editor allegedly had a nervous breakdown and left the production.
It's hard. It's a tough cut.
The Universal executives were also rather nervous when it came to some of the wild things in the film, and insisted that they be taken out. Raimi confessed that studio movie making, as opposed to independent filmmaking, didn't fulfill him the same way. However, Raimi attributed Universal's marketing campaign to the movie's success. They did this great campaign because they were like, we don't know what we have. Oh, that's what we'll do. And the whole campaign is, who is Darkman? Because Universal didn't know. And so the whole campaign, all the posters are, who is Darkman? All the went back and watched the ads. The ads are all like,
that's brilliant.
Who is Darkman? And so they would do that. They would have the silhouette of him walking, and then they would put Darkman around him, and so he was like the silhouette of the middle of the A in Darkman. And
brilliant.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. There was a Darkman TV pilot in 1992.
Unbelievable.
I found it. It will be in the show notes. I watched it. I sent it to you. You said you tried to watch it. I took one for the team and watched it.
But it wasn't Nemesis bad.
No, it wasn't Nemesis bad. It's hard to watch, not because it's not. There's not a lot there. What they do is they retell the story of the origin, and it is not like the movie. So they are like Westlake and Julie are married, and she's killed in the initial explosion because Durant came in to steal his synthetic skin formula. That's the plot. Larry Drake came back to reprise the role.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He came back and reprise it. Had a British actor come in and do Liam Neeson's role. Then it's a 90s. It was made for Fox, so it's almost built like a syndication show.
Yep.
So it's these procedurals with these supernatural elements kind of thing. It's basically what it is. So of course there's a cop involved, and so the cops guy, she's like, I'm trying to look for this Darkman guy, but she ends up befriending him, and it's just. And then there's a black kid he just befriends because the 90s.
Yeah.
He's like, you're a street kid, I'm a street dude. We're gonna hang out and solve crimes. And so it was a 22-minute pilot. That show would have never worked in a half-hour format.
Yeah, I don't know why they did. I mean, sometimes they're pitches.
It's a pitch.
Yeah.
A lot of the footage is footage from
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
the movie.
Yeah.
They probably filmed 12 minutes or 10 minutes,
Yep.
and the rest of it is footage. Because there's scenes of where it's like when they're beating up, when they're retelling the origin and beating up Westlake, it's Liam Neeson. You can see it.
Right.
You can clearly tell it's Liam. When he's crawling toward the drinking bird, that's Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that. What I did like the changes in it though. I mean, the premise is neat. I think today it would work. I think make some changes, but I think it work. He, instead of going into that abandoned like factory where he's at, he stays in an old abandoned planetarium.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's science based.
Yeah.
He's a man of science,
Way cooler.
and he's like now he's fighting all kinds of crime. And he's doing the masks thing, and it's shot at night. So
Finally
it's
shot at night
because it's cheaper. So
My God.
I have something special for you.
Uh-oh.
You'll love this. I don't think you haven't mentioned this, so I'm surprised you don't know this. You may know this, but I think hopefully I will surprise you. In 2006, Dynamite Comics presented Darkman versus Army of Darkness.
Are you kidding me?
I read it last night.
How is it?
It's amazing. Here's the plot.
Oh my God. Because you do know Bruce Campbell they pitched him
Right.
to be in that role.
And the studio said no. That's why
Yeah.
because he wasn't big, and they were like, we need somebody big. And
I think he would have been great.
He'd have been great. He would have been a good Darkman.
All right. So Darkman versus Army of Darkness.
All right. So Darkman, it's shortly after the movie, and it's some years after the movie, and he's been following Julie, who's getting on with her life, and he's happy about this supposedly, but he's got these emotional problems. Julie, being the lawyer she is working closing this estate that has all this crazy like occult stuff, and her assistant has been working hard on trying to translate some of this stuff, and they find the Necronomicon, and they start casting spells out of it because they're reading, what is this, blah, 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 whatever it's supposed to be, and Julie becomes the queen of the damned, and starts raising, and so she starts raising all these deadites.
Yeah.
And so her assistant runs off. Darkman tries to fight and save Julie, but because she's turned, she can't. And so together they were like, well, we need a hero. The book says we can summon a hero, so they summon the hero, who's Ash. So Ash shows up, and so of course Ash and Darkman fight for a second because they have to. The heroes have to fight.
Yeah.
And then because he's like, we have to kill Julie, and he's like, you're not killing Julie. so they're. Darkman like disguises himself as a deadite and goes sneaking around. I mean, this would have been an awesome movie. I would have watched it.
Brilliant.
They raise the Queen of the Dam raises Durant and makes him a lieutenant, and so he's out there as a deadite and just.
This is delightful.
It's epic. It's epic. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was really really.
I gotta find
fun. I will make sure you get it.
Thank you.
But so Darkman versus Army of Darkness, 2006.
Now I saw somewhere, I haven't looked at it. There's like a link for a Darkman that makes its way into IMDb in 2012 as a short.
Short film, 7 minutes long. It's on my notes too. I haven't watched it. I didn't find it, but I didn't look very hard. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I haven't. I just saw it appear. Is it in the same space? Is it a fan film?
It's a fan film. Yeah, it's a fan film.
Wow. Good for them.
It was good. So, but I read a review on it, and the review wasn't negative. It was just kind of mediocre. But see, I have a problem with long reviews for short films.
Yeah.
Like the review was longer than I know that the script was for.
Yeah, it doesn't need to
And
be.
it's like, don't critique this guy's fan film like that. Just, it didn't quite do blah blah blah. 7
You made
minutes.
a fan film of an obscure.
Right, 7
movie.
minutes. You had 7 minutes. It made 2 sequels.
Oh, that's true.
Darkman had 2 sequels. See, we'll talk about this at the end, but Darkman was popular enough to make 2 direct-to-video sequels. The Return of Durant and then Die Darkman Die.
Yeah.
The Return of Durant is basically Durant survives the helicopter crash and he's all burnt up, so he can be a Darkman too. And so he gets the same surgery and he goes and can't feel pain and he goes after for revenge. I don't know what Die Darkman Die is about, but I know it has the worst, my favorite worst line in any movie. So Darkman, we talked about this outside when we were pitching this. So Darkman's seeing this other girl and as Dr. Westlake in his normal skin. And her brother is murdered, and he's kind of been like investigating on the side because that's what he does. He's a hero now, and he's like, I know the gangsters who did this, and he's going to tell her, and he tells her, "Hey, I know who shot your brother." And she's like, "Oh no, the police said it was just a random act of violence." Well, that is murder.
Yeah.
I tell you who did it. No, it's just a random act, like just a bullet out of the air. Just we have to worry about like. Oh, he died. Why random?
Oh boy.
Random.
Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, Jeff Fahey's in it, and
the bad guy.
I can't say his name, but you can. Who's playing Darkman? It's the Mummy.
Arnold Vosloo.
Yeah, Vosloo. He's the Mummy in the Mummy movies, and he's Zartan in G.I. Joe.
Yes. And he also.
That's all I know him in. But I was like 3 movies I
He's
can
not
name.
the guy. No, he's not. That's Billy. Who ended up playing the Shadow? Not the Shadow. That was not the
Oh,
Shadow.
you're thinking Billy Zane.
Yeah, Billy Zane.
Who
He's
played
not
the Phantom.
The Phantom. Thank
He
you.
played the Phantom.
The Shadow was what's his name?
Billy Zane's also in one of my favorite comedy horror films. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight.
Oh, dude, Demon Knight's amazing.
Demon Knight,
He's
we gotta
the
do on
best
the show.
Demon devil,
Demon
whatever
Knight.
he is. He's
Demon
good.
Knight's such a good movie.
Yeah,
Saw that in the theaters like 3
I did
times.
too. Loved it.
Love that movie. Porto
Opens with filter.
right.
Hey man, I shot.
Right,
So good, and they're sealing everything. It's so good.
And it's got William Sadler, who
Who's great in that movie.
Who's great in everything. William
Yeah.
Sadler's one of those underrated actors. He's that character actor who's in everything, and when you see him, you just love him.
Yep.
I just want to write parts for him so I can put him in movies.
Yep.
I just be in my movie.
And Billy Sadler in that movie, seriously, is straight up awesome.
Oh,
fun.
it's just awesome. It's awesome. We're gonna have to do Demon Knight.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that because now I kind of want to see it again. It's
God,
been a
dude,
while.
It's been I saw it a little bit more recently. I
didn't like the second one, Bordello of Blood.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's
didn't.
not as good. Dennis Miller's funny in it though. I like
Yeah.
the premise more than the execution. I'll put it that way.
And that's pre-conservative talk show host.
yeah,
Dennis
it's
Miller.
right before he did. I think he dived into some movies because he did Disclosure and a couple other things before
Yeah.
he jumped into doing. Well, that's before Monday Night Football, and then after Monday Night Football, he did
Yeah,
conservative
that's
talk. Yeah. There was a Darkman NES game.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I never played it though.
I owned it and I have beaten it. And
Seriously?
Yeah, and so maybe as a tag with this episode, if we can work it out between the time we record and the time we air, I'm going to try to get us together so at least play an emulator of it and film us playing it. I'd love to.
I just want to see, is the helicopter like just a nice
There's part of
2D?
it. The fun part is that basically the game is you're Darkman getting revenge, and so every level is a different one of Durant's bosses, henchmen.
Oh, that's fun.
And so you have to track them down. There's scenes where you have to go like take their pictures, so you can make their
That sounds
mask.
fairly complex for an
Yeah,
NES game. A regular NES?
Yeah, regular NES, and it's. I mean, it's not that complex when you watch it, but it's like the idea is there. It's like it's more idea than execution, and then you would fight the boss, and then you have their skin, and you can sneak into the next level.
That's brilliant.
And so that's going to be awesome. So Darkman released in 1990 on my birthday, August 24th, 1990. I don't know why I didn't get to see it on my birthday. It would have been an awesome birthday present. The budget was $16 million. Do you know how much it made?
In the theater?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think much. Maybe 20.
World domestic 33,
That's not bad.
worldwide 48.
That's pretty good.
Really good. That's
On
what
a $16 million. I mean, that's the same. Who knows what the marketing budget was? But,
right. So how do you think it ranked that weekend?
Oh God. When did it come out? August. Oh,
Aug-
that's a summer block.
August 1990.
in the top 10?
Number 1.
You are kidding me.
Made $8 million the opening weekend. And
Unbelievable.
Number 1, Darkman. Number 2, Ghost. Number 3, Flatliners. Then Presumed Innocent, and then My Blue Heaven.
Well, maybe they've all been out though.
Right. But number 1 movie is
Darkman.
The marketing. Who is Darkman? Everyone went to go see to find out.
Yeah.
How do you think he did in the year?
Well, if it was number 1, it did something right.
Yeah,
so
I will say it was top 50.
yeah, I probably 38.
Oh, so close. 36. Good
Yeah,
job. Good job. Can you name me the top movies of 1990? You can't, and
I can't.
I love this part of the game show though.
Because I'm so bad at it. I have no clue.
Take a shot.
90?
1990.
Let's see. Ghost.
Yes, Ghost is number 2.
All right.
But that's the only thing I have named before.
Yeah,
Everything else is named.
Flatliners is terrible, so no.
1 is the one that won the Oscar that year.
Oh wait, what about is that Birds? Bette Midler.
Beaches?
Beaches.
It's not in the top. Not in the,
interesting.
no.
What else came out? Fried Green Tomatoes.
Nope.
Dang, I have no
I think
idea
that's 92. Ready?
Yep.
Number 1, Home Alone.
Oh my God, how could I forget that?
Number 2, Ghost. Number 3, Dances with Wolves, which won the Oscar that year.
Yep.
Number 3, Pretty Woman, that gave us
Yep.
Julia Roberts as a
Know
super.
it.
And number 5 was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh man, so Ninja Turtles was a big jam for me. I
Right,
loved the
right.
first one.
So this year included movies such as, I did this in sequels, it's fun, right? Exorcist 3,
Wow.
Back to the Future 3,
Wow.
Godfather 3,
Wow.
Gremlins 2,
Yep.
Young Guns 2,
Yep.
Die Hard 2,
Oh gosh.
Predator 2. It also brought us Jacob's Ladder, Total Recall, Dick Tracy, and Misery.
That's all great movies.
Oh, great. 90 was a good year.
It was a good year.
It was a good
Misery's
year.
a great movie.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in a while.
Yeah, I did. Misery was a great movie.
I need to review.
So,
Yeah, so my biggest takeaway from this film, aside from now that we've established sort of lining it into the Matrix and other gags, there's great gags in the movie that I think you can find in other movies.
Right.
You can see the influence. Obviously, Sam Raimi, you can definitely see it in Spider-Man. He never left it.
right.
The biggest takeaway was, it still, to this day, was the most comic book, to me, now.
Right.
It's still more comic book. I felt like I was reading a comic where the dialogue wasn't perfectly acted in my head because
Right.
I'm not an actor, that things didn't go exactly as the way I thought because I'm not an artist. It just, there's a roughness to it that I actually really, really loved.
Oh, it's great.
And I love the fact that it was a lot of daylight,
All
though
right.
called Darkman.
And it's gritty, but not like, it's not like in gritty in story, but like in just tone and look.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
the film stock just looks filthy, and it's
Oh,
great.
it's just so disgusting.
It's
Yeah,
just like,
beautiful.
right. It's like, oh, where did you find this
Yeah.
in the sewer? It's
Yeah.
just disgusting.
It's like all short ends.
So
yeah.
I'm curious. I know that Sam Raimi owns the rights to Evil Dead. I don't know if he owns the rights to Darkman.
No, I think they're probably titled with Universal.
Right.
Isn't this Universal?
This is Universal. So
We can ask somebody.
So hold on this note for me. Just
Yeah.
follow me on this train when we do this.
Yeah.
How do we remake this movie?
Yeah.
Because I would love to. Here's what I propose. If it's Universal,
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I know where you're going. Can we work him in?
can we work him into the Dark Universe? Let's take out
100%.
Phantom, because that's who he is. Take
Yep.
the musical Phantom out so we don't have to worry about Andrew Lloyd Webber and all that crap.
Yep.
We bring in Darkman instead.
100%.
Oh, I would watch Darkman fight Dracula or the Mummy or what
Oh,
werewolves.
it makes it way better if he ties into that space.
Right. You have this.
And your heist movie gets even heightened because
Right.
he's got to go in and do the heist portion more
Right.
so.
And so you've got, he adds to your scientists who is like Frankenstein and Mr. Hyde.
Yep.
And so suddenly you've got Darkman, you got Westlake who's got, he can connect in any of those with his skin thing and
Yep.
just, So
I love it.
I propose putting Darkman in the Dark Universe.
No, I think it's brilliant. I think if you're going straight remake, obviously I think you turn it a little bit more. I think you put it back out. Now we're moving because your idea is better.
Right.
'Cause
We can do a
But if
separate
we're doing
one,
it straight,
I was just as we were talking.
it
just
started connecting
dawned on me.
like right away. I would actually turn it into a little more of a horror film.
Right.
I turn it into a little more of a not a jigsaw, but something in that space with,
Right.
with a little more substance to the villain.
Right.
That you think's the villain. and then turn it on its head as it goes through, so that you are starting to reveal that he has another side to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I would really let the darkness, not a Jekyll and Hyde physical way, but a mental way. I'd let the darkness kind of take control of him in the right moments. Right. And his struggle is the balance.
Oh, yeah.
So at the end, he's able to achieve somewhat of a balance where he can, quote, Hulk rage,
Right.
go full Darkman or not. If
Right.
that makes sense.
So, I have a question for, and maybe to me, profit. I mean, I don't know profit wise, but to me, it seemed like it made money.
Yeah.
And we're just talking theatrically, so we're not talking about video releasing, because they made a ton of money on home video back then, and so there wasn't really merchandise tie-in. I know there was T-shirts, there was no action figures or anything, because I guess it was rated R. They didn't want to do action figures for that. I would have bought a Darkman action figure though. I would have like just give me a kid.
That they made a Highlander cartoon, like you talked about the other week.
But I am curious why instead of a really good budgeted theatrical sequel, we got 2 direct video thrown together stuff.
I bet it was the rights deal.
Probably.
It's cheaper. They can sell the rights off, make a little money.
Right.
They didn't care about the property.
Right.
Sam may have abandoned the property.
Right.
That's the real. That's the hard truth.
He probably like, I'm off to go make other things, and I'll make some money off whatever my contribution, whatever his contract is. I think it's a viable property. I think the world needs another Darkman, especially in the age of superheroes. It's good to get an original one.
Yeah, and he's on the same lines as Deadpool in terms of like the darkness. It's Logan.
Right.
You can be violent.
Right.
You can go that way with it.
And it's it's got a bit of a name and a cult following. I'd make this in a heartbeat. Or at least write it in a heartbeat. I have some ideas.
Yeah. I love
even not doing in the Dark Universe.
I love him in the Dark Universe. I think that's like.
I just want to resurrect the Dark Universe. I hope there's an idea in
there.
And
he fits it because he's a direct homage to it.
Right, he's the homage.
Like that's what Raimi wanted to do with it.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm all in.
I'd invite Sam Rami to come direct it. Come back.
Hey, Sam Raimi, when you listen to this podcast, why don't you come on down? You're going to see Darkman. You're going to get curious. You're going to listen to this podcast. Scotty and I have some ideas.
We have some ideas. It's great. I
forget the name of your company. I'm sorry.
I also got a question about I was going to bring this up earlier, and I forgot till now. But so, Darkman fits in the weird era of superhero movies. Well, there wasn't a lot of them, but a lot of the bad guys were real estate dudes.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Why are real estate dudes like Superman?
Yep, real estate dude.
Superman is basically Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor is just a real estate dude.
Yeah.
He just wants to. I'm going to make California an island. I'm going to blow up the earth to do it. But yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if it's because the
RoboCop,
90s, real estate
dudes, really
Total Recall, technically
real estate dude.
Yeah,
this real estate dude.
I wonder if it's because the '90s was about mass consumption.
Superman Returns, real estate dude.
Oh, good point.
Because Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor wants to raise an island because he's the original Lex Luthor. I'm looking straight at him. I cannot think of his name.
Oh, Brandon Routh?
No. That's Superman. Original Lex Luthor.
Oh, Gene Hackman.
Hackman. He's the Hackman. He's basically just taking over the role for Hackman in that. But he's like, I'm raising an island of kryptonite, and I'm going to put real estate on there. Arr!
It doesn't make any sense.
Why are Superman's like, I got to get these housing markets down.
It's just not working.
It's like 2008. He's like, the bubble.
He knew ahead of time.
Too big to fail.
He calls his buddy Bruce, who's not quite yet Batman, but he's still there. And he's like, no, the bubble is too big. It won't work.
I'd write that movie too.
Superhero dealing with.
Well, Christian Bale's in The Big Short, so
that's where I was going from it. It's Christian Bale. He's Bruce Wayne. It's Bruce pre-Batman.
Right before his family's killed, he has to use all that money to become.
Yeah,
he made against the housing market.
That's what he does.
I like our origin story now.
That's how we do it.
Oh wow! So I don't know what we're gonna watch next. Do you have suggestions? It's technically
I'm a little scared.
It's technically your pick.
I know, but I'm a little scared after the fiasco with.
Oh, I got you something back from Nemesis. I'm saving that one though.
Oh boy,
I did. I think we mentioned this in the last podcast, but I did walk in when I first saw him after Nemesis, going, "You've lost your privileges."
Yeah, that's true facts. I have a small list of a couple of things, and one of the ones I'd like to do is another terrible action movie. That's what you're gonna find as a theme with me.
That's your thing, yeah.
It's American Ninja.
Okay.
It's American Ninja, but we could also do a special guest. We have two options for. I'm gonna. Do you want to let the audience pick?
No.
Okay. So the other option would be
our audience member is wrong.
would be Jeff Worley's favorite movie. One of his favorite cult films is Breakin' 2 Electric. Oh, yeah, Breakin' 2.
Oh, the second one, not even the first one.
He loves the second one.
Wow.
And it's kind of weird to bring Jeff because you have to show a picture of him at some point.
Right.
But that's one of Jeff's jams. Or you get my wife, who is the Comet, Night of the Comet.
So we'll figure out who wants to come on next, and we'll have.
She just wants to drink. So.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. It'll get funnier. And her Southern will come out more and more. Slows it down.
Oh, that's.
Night of the Comet's favorite, the fashion.
Oh wow! So what else is on your list? Got American Ninja on your list? What else is on your list?
There's a whole. I got a sheet. Just not with me.
Oh, you just can't think of things off the top of your head?
Yeah, because I'm tired and it's been a long day.
I
My
got
brain's
you.
a little fried.
I
I have to reshoot a commercial. I'm very frustrated about it.
I'm sorry.
Not my fault. I make more money, but it's it's the principle.
Just think about that. See, that's what I think about. At the end of the day, I get paid.
I know.
It's how it is. It's like how many versions of this you want? Whatever. I get paid at the end of the day. What, you don't like the word here? Whatever.
I don't have control, so it's a more matter of what was said to cause it.
Oh,
you know.
I had a project I did. I had a digital sign I had to do. This is work talk with Scotty and Drew.
Yeah.
I had a digital sign I had to do, and at the last minute they wanted to add this other thing which had a logo with it, but they wanted the logo to appear at the end, like you know, when this part of the promotion showed up. Here's the logo for it, which is fine, but they didn't tell me where to put the logo, and there's not a lot of room in these things, and so I just kind of stuck it where I thought it would be aesthetically pleasing. I was wrong. And then so I got notes of like, well, can you put it somewhere? The first note was, could you put it somewhere else? And so I did, because it just looks like you just put it somewhere, which is true. That's what I did.
Right.
I was like,
you got called out.
I was like, oh, it looks good here. I mean, there's a method to my madness. I didn't just close my eyes and get the.
I do that often.
And then finally that wasn't right, and so the person above the other person come back and actually took a screenshot, printed it out, circled where she wanted it, scanned it, or took a shot of it, and then sent me where she wanted it, which was fine. I now know okay, I put it where you need it. She drew a map. I was like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
so,
very analog map to get there.
Just give me where you want, and which is basically the other side of where I put it. It was on the right side. She wanted it on the left.
At least they gave you it's better than the ambiguous more right. I'm sorry.
What?
No, just more right.
It's more right.
More righter.
Could you make it lefter?
Yeah, a little bit left, and then you're like, what? And so sometimes there's the 2-tick rule. We have in the edit bay.
Right.
If someone gives you a thing and you're cutting and they're like, I think that needs to be 2 ticks to the left. And they're just talking about 2 frames. They just call it ticks because the click of the keyboard. So the rule was you always do, and normally they're wrong. So you'd go 2 ticks, 2 ticks. You'd be like, tick, 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 tick. And you just do enough. You basically do it 6 times.
Right.
But you're always getting back to 0.
Right.
And you're like, how's that? Perfect. You're
Right.
like, yep, there you go.
Right.
Done.
All right.
Secrets of editing.
Or you just do the same version and go print, or when you export it, just version 3.
Yeah, I do that. Good
Oh,
bit.
this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's called version whoring.
Oh, I didn't know there was a name for it.
V-whoring. Yeah. That's where they just want to run up the version numbers. So sometimes I will start the first version at 6 and be like, yeah, I've worked on this for a while.
No. See, I'm the opposite because because I feel like versions are failures.
Oh, yeah. No.
So like before I send anything out for approval, it's probably version 4 or 5, but it's like version 1, and they're like, "Oh, it's wonderful." I'm like, "Yes." They don't know how much pain I went through.
No, I get it.
I caught all the mistakes
it
first.
Depends on the client.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I work for an in-house agency, so
you have the luxury of it.
I have one client, which is awesome. I was talking to my boss today, my grand boss, and we put out an episode today, and I told him, it's like, well, my job is to make you happy. And he's like, well, I want you happy too. The job is to put out a great product. And I'm like, okay, yes. And my brain is, Well, it's a good product because you're happy and it's out. So it's like once it's released, I'm happy you're happy. It's like honestly, I'm like I love my job and I love what I do, but once it's out of my hand, whatever. I'm on to the next thing. I'm already thinking about the next thing.
And that's why I'm upset about reshooting the commercial.
Right. It's like
I thought I had made they were happy.
Right.
3 out of the 4 children we had together, they loved, but one of them they want to redo.
One of them was kind of a dark man, and they had
They wanted a dark. We had a Durant or a burnt face.
We gotta put him up on that. Well, that was a good fun. That was fun.
Yeah, it's good.
We'll do this again. We do this again.
Yeah, work talk at the end.
You know what? We did not come with a shirt this week.
I know, but that's okay.
That's okay. We sometimes can need to give it a rest.
Yeah.
So
Darkman was probably a little bit better quality than.
It's our first #1 movie.
Yeah.
It probably won't be our last, but it was. I was surprised though it was #1.
I think if you
I was very surprised it was #1.
It's pretty shocking.
I was like, this movie came in
August too.
Right.
Like it's at the end of August, but still.
Which makes, again, I think it's the marketing. I think it's the Who is Darkman. And I'll post the trailers, too, on that. So, because, please check the show notes if you're listening to this part of the episode. Show notes, I work hard on those.
Yeah, they're good.
So
there's a lot of information.
And fun stuff. All right, this is me saying, this is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out to make yours.
This is Cool Hoss out.
Yakmala.
Cool Hoss, that's the ice cream again. Yakmala, damn it.
Yakmala.
Thank you for listening to the Mopcast Network.